When you agree right now, people are panicking all around the world. You take one look on the news, you hear about this coronavirus, and perhaps it's making you feel stressed. Perhaps it's making you feel worried. Perhaps you're feeling stressed and asking yourself, what if something happens to me or my family? Can you relate to this? If so, I want you to pay close attention to these 3 things I'm about to share with you in a moment, because they'll allow you to actually handle situations like this in your life, like the ones we're experiencing right now, in the most logical way possible, in the right way. Because when you agree, there's always a right way and a wrong way of dealing with situations in your life, and how you decide to really deal with this will have a direct impact on your loved ones as well. Because one of the fastest ways to deal with people who are panicking around you is to not be one of them. If you're calm and collected, it will rub off onto everybody else. And most people out there around the world are following this herd-like mentality. And we're seeing very questionable behavioral traits among some humans right now. Can you relate to this? This is why I'm going to share with you these 3 things that will help you to really handle chaos from today and moving forwards in your life. But just before we do, I want to just clarify, in no way whatsoever am I saying ignore what's happening in the world right now. Because ignorance is the worst way of trying to cope or solve a problem. We got to be real with the situation. People are unfortunately dying due to this. We have to take it seriously. We have to take the extra precautions necessary. That's important. But there is a right way of really dealing with this on top of that. And that's what I'm about to go through with you right now. The first thing I want to share with you is why you shouldn't be worried. You see, truly successful people thrive no matter what's happening in the world. And there's a reason why that quote says, the rich get richer and the poor gets poorer. It's because the successful people around the world are able to really observe what's happening versus being reactive to what's happening, following everybody else, the herd-like mentality. There's something important for you to understand also in terms of worrying, what it does to you. When you are worrying in your life, what that's really doing is creating unnecessary amount of stress. And when you are really stressed, it's going to release cortisol. That's the killer hormone. That's going to impact your sleep. That's going to also impact your ability to help handle illness. So the more worrying you actually do, the more you're likely to actually impact your health. It's totally counterintuitive. Worrying about something that hasn't happened yet is kind of like paying interest on a debt that you don't owe. It makes no sense whatsoever. At the same time, realize the job of the news, if you've been watching the news about coronavirus, is not to tell you the facts. Is to tell you their amplified story about the facts. Why? Because their job is to sell more papers. Their job is to make more advertising dollars. And they hire the world's best who understand your psychology, who's writing these headlines with a specific purpose of capturing the part of your brain called the amygdala. They want to capture the attention of the amygdala, which is always scanning your environment for things that could possibly harm you. It's a survival part of the brain. And that's why you'll often find you pick up the bad news articles versus the good news articles. And this is why right now, if you look at what's in the headlines, they're not sharing how many people have recovered, which is a lot. They're showing how many people have unfortunately passed away, because it does grab more of your attention. And if you keep on literally grabbing all these papers and just checking them out every single day, you're only going to be doing yourself more harm. So really take it for what it is. At the same time, research into the truth itself, because most people panic not because of what's happening, but because they don't understand the truth. Look up the facts in terms of how many people actually pass away from unfortunate other illnesses in the world. And you quickly realize and put everything into context, not just take what the news is saying to you. That can cause everybody to panic in the world. You got to stop this negative thinking patterns in a state of chaos, because that's only going to cause harm for yourself, as well as it's going to make everybody else panic as well. The second thing I want to share with you right now is the proactive versus reactive mentality. The reason why successful people are able to handle chaos in their life is because of the fact that they understand this formula that I'm about to share with you right now. You see, being mentally strong or being calm and collected is not so much what's coming your way, what's happening in the world, but it's more to do where you are coming from in that moment. what state you are representing in that moment. So what is the formula on the share view? Event plus response equals an outcome. I want you to remember this. Event plus response equals an outcome. Whenever something happens in your life, how you respond to it, that's what determines how you're going to feel about it. Whenever any situation happens, imagine, for example, just being stuck in traffic. You can decide to respond to that event in a very negative way. Feeling stressed, panicking. You could think, oh my God, why is this traffic not moving? Or you could just let go of control and realize you stressing about it is not going to speed it up. You stressing about it is not going to change whatsoever. Why don't you enjoy the journey? Why don't you accept what's really happening in your life? Because realize this, all pain comes from non-acceptance in life. We're talking about internal pain here in terms of mental. When you're feeling that sense of stress, anxiety is because you haven't truly accepted what's happened. You're resisting what is. You see, the problem is not the problem. The problem is resisting whatever's happening. That's the actual problem, and that's what you actually label as a problem. Once you accept that, then you choose to respond in a wise way that serves you. Is that making sense? So that's the second thing I want you to really bear in mind. The proactive versus reactive mentality. Reactive mentality is when somebody's just observing something and immediately just reacting, versus choosing a wise response. That's being proactive. The third thing that you got to bear in mind today, so you can truly thrive no matter what's happening in the world. Become the eye of the storm, no matter what's happening out there. When you're in the eye of the storm, it's calm, it's peaceful, and it allows you to think more logical. It allows you to make better moves for you and your family. And every single day, you've got a decision to make. Are you going to operate from your higher self or lower self? In other label terms, one could call it logical self or emotional self. Because remember, when your emotions are high, your intelligence is low. You know when you're operating from a higher self because you are calm and collected. You feel this sense of peace. You feel like you can make the right decision. It seems more logical. You know when you're operating from the lower self, when everything seems chaotic. Have you ever experienced that in your life before? Everything, it feels stressful around you. It feels like you're in like a whirlwind called life. It feels like it's an absolute manic. This is the time for you to adopt the personal development rituals. You've heard of them, such as meditation, journaling, just taking all of these rituals we talk about in the world of personal development and actually living by the principles every single day, practicing every single day, being more mindful. And with that, you will be able to handle no matter what comes your way. Just want to say thank you so much for tuning in today's video. Stay healthy, stay strong, and take the extra precautions necessary that is required for whatever we're experiencing in our life right now. Have a great rest of the day, and as always, follow your heart and take action, and let's create the life you're truly born to live.